Hello, everyone. My name is Christian Eschbach, and welcome to another one of my album reviews. All right, so we're going to do Amon Amarth. Amon Amarth. I don't know how to do it without it sound like I'm doing a bad Swedish impersonation. Versus the World. This is the 2 CD deluxe set with a bonus disc in it, and I'm gonna be completely honest. Ugh. I'll explain as I go here, but the second disc, I'm gonna mention that there's songs on it, and that's about it. Let's move along. Okay, so Swedish metal, is it? I believe they're Swedish. I think. I could be wrong. I thought that's what I read online. I don't have the computer in front of me. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. If they're not a Swedish metal band, let me know. Death metal, black metal, some type of metal that's. I want to say. More black metal than death metal. Black metal is the one that's more like doom metal, right? Or is it death metal that's more like doom metal? Whichever one that's more like doom metal, where you can actually hear like cool riffs. These guys are more in that vein, except for they've got the yelly, screamy, and the on the drums. Okay. Now, if you're one of my regular viewers, you know how I feel about the overuse of double kick. Double kick is great. It has its uses, and when it's used right, it sounds great. I'm all for double kick. It's not anti-double kick. It's just overuse of double kick. And I'm not big on, and it's coming out of me. It's really funny because half of my singing is growling. But I'm not huge on growly vocals. Like I growl like Lemmy growls. So you know what I'm saying there. Not like this type of growling. This is this more primal, deep, guttural kind of growl. I actually, one of the reasons I went and looked for information for them online is I actually thought this was the same band that does Death Clock. Because this is the metal. Okay, songs. All right. Death and Fire opens up the album actually quite good. I really kind of dig on it. Get into it, and the one thing, it starts off the album right away with just that big blast, the double kick going, everything that I get annoyed with metal, all the horrible cliches of metal. And then it fires into some real, actual great riffage. This band does some great riffage in here, man. But the drumming throughout this album gets really good too. Okay, so it's like every other song. It feels like they switch drummers. Because every other song they go from basically your cliche double bass going the whole fucking time, and it's really fucking annoying, and the drums really don't change that much, to the next song the drums are like playing like some cherry stuff, man. Like, I mean, the way that nuances and textures and like there's some songs when the drums are doing more than just the cliche. They are gorgeous. Where silent gods stand guard. Where silent gods stand guard, which is track 3. Perfect example of this, man. There's some great stuff in there. Down the Slopes of Death, which is track 6. Whoa, the drumming in that one, man. That was another one that kind of caught me. And both of those songs use heavy use of the double bass, but there's other stuff in there, just good stuff. Okay, anyways, gonna get back. Okay, so Death and Fire track 1, decent enough track. Track 2, for the scab wounds in our backs. I actually enjoy this one when I'm listening to it, but it's not a standout track. Like the second I'm distracted doing something, I don't think about it. Where Silent Gods Stand Guard, this one pops out to me every time. Really good standout, decent track. Versus the World. This is the point where, for me, the album kind of just stagnates for a little bit. And it's my personal biases. I'm going to completely admit it's my personal biases. As you've already heard, I've got them. And the problem is when you get to track 4, which is Versus the World, track 5, Across the Rainbow Bridge, and then track 6, Down the Slopes of Death. Honestly, it feels like one giant long song more than anything. If it was one giant song, I'd probably have maybe a little more appreciation for it than I do. But it's basically, I kind of blur like one Across the Rainbow Bridge. I kind of pick up on little parts here and there, and that's kind of about it. Not a lot, just little bits here and there. And then when you get to Down the Slopes of Death, it's like, ooh, okay, that one grabs you right again, right at the beginning, just because the way it kind of comes in and whatnot and gets going. 1,000 Years of Oppression's not bad. Bloodshed, okay. The guitar solo at about the 4 minute and 20-second marker is now the whole song in general lifts a good chunk of riffage from a particular song I grew up with thanks to my mom. I don't talk about my mom getting me into too much music or my mom, outside of like when I mentioned Alice Cooper, David Bowie, and Krista Berg being like neutral ground in my house. Um, I don't talk too much about my mom with me and my music in my life because I always mention that my mom was a country person. She wasn't always in a country, so there are certain things I know and I've known for a long time and I've had respect for because of my mom. And one of which is Fame, the TV show Fame, and that song, Fame, I'm Gonna Live Forever. Now, about the 4 minute and 20-second marker, there is some major inspiration lifted from the intro right before it gets into the first Fame, I'm gonna. So if you listen to the song leading up to that point, and you go and listen to this at about the 4 minute and 20-second marker, you'll hear it, man. You'll hear it. I heard it. Wow, man. Talked about my mom during an Amon Amarth review. And Fame. It's there, man. I played it for my buddy Drew. He couldn't hear it, but he was listening more for the chorus, I think. And if I had played the intro part, I think you would have heard it. And track 9 we got, And Soon the World Will Cease to Be. And that's a good closer for the album. The problem is, for me, that it's kind of really basic. So while it closes out the album, okay, like, yeah, concept album, story going through, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to be honest, way too much growling to pay attention. Way too much growling to pay attention for me. I was, when I'm listening to it, I was honestly listening to it like I was sitting at my computer quietly, working on a schedule for the TWA, that's the Trampoline Wrestling Association. You can find a link below for that. But I was working on the schedule for season 2 for filming and whatnot. And I really intently listening to this the last like 3-4 times I've listened to this. I mean, I've given this some fair listening and whatnot. And just the album on its own, track 1 through 9, really nice, not bad. I enjoy it. Part of the problem, I think, is right away on my computer, because it's on my computer, I've got it going. So it's right away, it jumps to the next disc and starts playing through on the next disc. And the next disc really does nothing for me. If I was a fan of the band, which I'm honestly not, it's not my style. It's not. Like I have some Death Clock in the way of MP3s that a friend burned for me, or ripped for me, sorry. And, I enjoy it to an extent, But Death Clock is always best while watching Metalocalypse. On its own, it's good if you enjoy the music, but it's not as enjoyable. Like some songs are great, but okay. Anyways, I can't even pronounce track one. Sigrish Sigresha Marsh. I'm sorry, it's in their native tongue. It translates to Victorious March. So that's from first mini CD Sorrow Throughout the Nine Worlds. Okay. Then you got. Oh, sorry. Sorry, that song is not from that. That song is just there as track one. Then it's the first mini CD, Sorrow Through the Nine Worlds. So this is kind of cool if you're a fan. You're getting the first mini CD, man. By mini CD, I'm wondering if they possibly mean EP or if maybe it was one of the old school mini CDs. Those did exist for a while. You got Sorrow Through the Nine Worlds, The Arrival of the Final Winter, Burning Creation, The Mighty Doors of the Spear God Hall, Under the Gray Clouded Winter Sky. They all sound the same to me. I've listened through the bonus disc two or three times. I usually stop after the first disc. I can't do it. I tried even listening to it on its own separately. I can't do it. It bores the shit out of me. Then we got the next section, which is second demo arrival for the final winter of the second demo arrival of the final winter, which is Burning Creation, Arrival of the Final Winter, and Without Fear. And then you got first demo, Thor Arise, which is Risen from the Sea, Atrocious Humanity, Army of Darkness, Thor Arise, and Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. And that is a cover of Black Sabbath's Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, which to me is a kind of a cool way to close it out. If they had taken Sabbath Bloody Sabbath and put it at the end of the first album, I would have been great with that, man. That would have perfect, done, good, closed, over, done with, good. The whole way around, the riffs, the music itself is brilliant. When you get down to it, a lot of the music is actually ruined by the double bass drums at points. There are on the songs where they overuse the double bass drum rapid fire. It really ruins some of the riffs because the riffs need a little more space to breathe. And I. Okay, so as a drummer, keeping the tempo is one thing, but you have to know how to let the music itself breathe. You've got to give it pockets to play in. You're there to help accentuate it. At least that's my perspective on it. So there's points where the drumming in here is absolutely spectacular. Amazing drumming. Like, I mean, some top-notch level, I'm going to say Neil Peart inspired drumming. But there's other points where it's like, guys, come on. I'm going to take that back. Not Neil Peart. I want to actually say more Ginger Baker. I do. I want to say more Ginger Baker. Maybe even a little John Bonham. There's some really primo drumming in there, man. And like I said, the music itself, a lot of it is just kind of your basic, like fill as many notes as you can into a measure as possible, or a bar, I should say, as possible. And okay, whatever. I mean, like playing rapid eighth power chords, rapid eighth note power chords, stuff like that, or 16th note power chords, stuff like just kind of your basic kind of stuff. But when the riffs come out, like when they get into the nice riffs where it's a clear cut riff, like you can hear true riffage in there, man. open it up, let it breathe a little bit. Oh, it's nice, man. It's nice. Um, if I didn't want to deal with the hassle of, fair use and whatnot, and I could actually play clips off of this album, I could definitely play some clips to really turn you on to this album without a doubt, man. There is some really fine stuff in here. The problem is the rest of it isn't my taste, isn't my likings, isn't my style. So that's why, unfortunately, I can't I can't give this album the credit it's due, but it's really due some credit. Um, do I think this album would be better with, like, say, Dio doing Dio style vocals? Maybe, but then it might be a little too cliche. James Hetfield style vocals? Possibly as well, but it might be a little too cliche. I could maybe see some Hetfield, maybe. Um, Maybe some Aussie style vocals on it, maybe. Maybe I'm not sure on that one. Possibly, just something to differ it up a little bit, and then different. If the vocals were done differently and the drums were done differently, I love the sound, man. Just a little bit on the drums, not a lot, just a little, because there's points where that double bass is definitely necessary. But, anyways, folks, that's it. I'm done. I have rambled on long enough about this one. So, if you are into the metal, check this out, man. Check this the fuck out. This is some good shit. If you're not into that type of metal and you like your words a little clearer, a little more enunciated, a little more sung, maybe not for you. My thoughts, my opinions, let me know what you think, folks. That's what the comment section is for. On your way down there are links. The TWA, the Howling Odyssey, which is where you can find my musical endeavors of late or end of past. And you can also find a link to Patreon where you can download stuff. Hit the like button, the subscribe button, the bell for notifications. Peace, love, take care.